Patrol Officer, if he would open this up.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. The first item is the minutes from our previous meeting. You've all received a copy of those. Do you have any recommendations for changes, or would you move to accept those?
Motion to accept. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item then will be old business. We've got a few road additions and removals to vote on here. We did have road hearings. You've got a copy of the notes that were collected at those hearings. First one we need to look at is in 1st District. It's Cumberland Trace, and that is a non-conforming road. Let's see, we had, there was opposition there. It was Glenn Penquite and Colleen Penquite. And Mr. Penquite, basically his only opposition was the road as proposed does not quite reach the end of the property. It goes to a certain point, and then his property is another 100 feet, I guess, on down past where we're proposing to put the cul-de-sac. And he said he would like to see that road extend all the way to his property if we're going to include that road. So that's the only opposition. So if we want to table that and
I
look,
think that'd probably be the best, and then we'll look and see if there's another way in, or if there's an easement at the end of that, and kind of look at the plat and see if
he said
has
he
an
wouldn't
easement on it.
oppose the road, but he wants it to come a little further. So we just need to maybe remark it maybe.
I think just table that till maybe next time or something. And we'll
Do we need to make a motion and vote on tabling that? I got a motion to table it in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next road to consider then is in the 4th District, Deer Run Lane. It is a non-conforming road, but there was no opposition present at the hearing. We did have road committee to look at that road, so I would take recommendation for what you want to do there.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion second to accept Deer Run Lane. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And then we have, in the 5th District, we have the Mallard Circle Extension. And there was no opposition present to that. The road committee has seen the extension, so what would be your pleasure there? Motion. We've got a motion.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then we have one road request for removal. This is South Falls Drive and Canyon Drive. And apparently we took roads in there at one point. The developer, I think, had financial trouble, ended up selling the property off. And so the new owner would like to just put a fence up and run cattle on that property and wants to take those roads out.
Motion.
And there was no opposition. So we've got a motion.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Did that include both roads?
Is that South Falls Drive as well?
It's Canyon and South Falls. That we can do separate?
Fine.
Then the next item will be new business. We have some petitions to actually bring 2 roads in and 1 road out. I'll need to assign committees or get volunteers to look at these roads. In the 1st District, we have Charles Stevenson Road. They want to bring that into the county road system. So I'll need two of y'all to volunteer to look at that if you would.
I'll go.
Jimmy, anybody want to go with Jimmy on that one?
Which one?
Charles Stevenson Road in the First District.
Yeah, I'll go.
Mike, thank you. And then in the Third District, we have Jerry Simpson Road. If two of y'all would volunteer to,
I'll go look at it.
I will too.
Glenn and Mike. All right, and then in the Fifth District, we have a request for removal for Coal Bank Road. Need two of y'all to be a committee for that.
Yeah, I'll go.
And Mike. Thank you. Next item then on the agenda will be our county clerk's budget presentation. Linda?
Good morning. Thank you all for another good year. We're really blessed here in Pulaski County with all the things that we have to offer here and what all we have to give. And from our budget this year, I think that shows a lot. First of all, I'd just like to thank my staff for such a good job with handling all this. So I couldn't do it without them, that's for sure. But the only difference in my budget in your packet there is we've had a little bit of increase in the receipts, of course, money being taken in. And we have an increase in the renovation of the office equipment and so on. So I'd like to ask the court to approve my budget as you see it there.
Approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Have any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank
Is
you
that all
very
you have
much.
for us today?
Oh.
That is it.
Salary.
Oh, salary cap, I'm sorry. I knew there was something else there. Yes, and that's included in the packet there. And I would ask the court to accept that also in the setting maximum amount for deputies and the salaries and assistants.
We have a motion.
Motion. Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you,
all very
Linda.
much. And again, we are blessed here in Pulaski County, and I'm very proud to be county clerk and proud to be a resident of Pulaski County.
Me too. Thank you for all you do, Linda.
Next item then on the agenda, we have a request to change the date of our next regularly scheduled meeting. Scheduled to meet on the 23rd, but we'd like to change that to the 22nd to accommodate some schedule conflicts we have on our court. So if you all would be okay with that, I'd need a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I can't hear him.
Then the next item then on the agenda is we have a grant application for EMS, and it just requires me to sign off on that. I just need the court's permission to sign the EMS grant.
Motion.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, brings us into our department reports. Sheriff, do you have anything you'd like to?
Yes, Judge, I got everybody as well.
All right.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I too would like to thank my staff and the people of Pulaski County for the opportunity of serving. Thank my staff for all the help that they've been this year. An outstanding group of people that helps get the people's business done every day down at the sheriff's office. Also, I'd like to thank the fiscal court and the judge and county officials, Linda, county treasurer. You all have been great to work with, and I think with our working relationship, it helps everybody be successful. So I want to thank you all for that. The budget this year, y'all should have a copy of it in front of you. It's up 3% due to increase in commissions. The total amount of the budget is estimated at $3,270,000. I guess with that, I need a motion to approve the 2018 budget as a whole.
Motion.
Got a
Second.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. And also, I need a motion to approve the maximum salary caps.
We have a motion for salary and caps.
Motion.
Second.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Okay. And I have a check today for $100,000 in excess fees that I'm prepared to remit to the court today. This is the first check that I'll be remitting in excess fees. I anticipate another check, approximately $70,000, once all accounts are reconciled. So I'll
We need a motion.
present this to Ms. Jones.
Joan will take it.
We have a motion to accept that?
Motion to
check?
accept the check.
Second.
Yeah, motion, say, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
I think I gave you too much stuff there, Joe.
You gave me the maximum salary, which you've already voted on.
Judge needs to sign that.
No, Linda.
This copy is the copy that we have to give to the auditor's judge, so I would ask you to sign this copy of the
Okay,
budget.
all right. There you go, sir. Okay.
That's all I have at this time. Is there any questions?
We just appreciate you getting this for us. Hopefully we're gonna have a good year in 2018. Appreciate your work.
Me too. Thank you all.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brings us to our jailer then. David?
I did.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I too have had a good year, and it's obvious that without our staff, none of us would be where we're at today in any business that we have. It's all about our staff. Working together also makes it a better deal. So this past year has been really good. You know, when everybody comes together and tries to help and get things move forward, it's just a good time. Unfortunately, there are some times that aren't so good, and we deal with that. Our jail is nearing 30 years old. It has a system that controls all of the door locks in the system. The door locks are still good. It's just the system that operates that has gone bad. It was installed in 2003, which replaced the system that was installed in 1989 or 8. So 12 years, 13 years is where that's at. So we're looking at 15 years of this system. It went down on us back in November. We were 5 days without any power to our doors. We had to manually open each door with a key. And when that happens, it's not a good situation for our staff. It's not a good situation anything, because there's only one key that operates those doors. If something happens to that key, then those people are stuck in that cell. So we were fortunate enough that our maintenance guy was I guess a MacGyver. He figured out a way to get them to where it worked. He got somebody to come in and help us get it back up. But they tell us that system is obsolete. There's nobody that makes that system anymore, and there's no way to fix it. And it's operating now, but if it quits again, you know, we may not be able to even fix it to get those doors open except for that key. So what I'm asking today is to open up bids for that system. I don't know how many companies out there are in that business. We just have to put bids out to see. We've had the company that did it, they said if they put something of that nature in, they kind of told us what it would cost. It was nearly $30,000. It's $29,000 something. Again, I don't know how many companies are involved in that. We'll just have to advertise it and see what comes in on that. But it's something that has to be done. There's no way around it. Like I said, the other system was installed in '89, went out in 2003. This system is in 2003, and here we are in 2018. So it's hanging on by a thread. So that's something we need to do. So I'm asking the court permission to advertise for that system to be put in.
Motion to advertise.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to advertise for the lock system. Any further discussion? All in favor?
No.
Any opposed?
Thank you. On another situation, of course, you know, we had cold weather and we've got the working cell outside that we keep those inmates in. Water line bust in the ceiling over the weekend. It did considerable damage to the ceiling. It's about a 1,200-foot ceiling. There was light fixtures for water. It dropped down, you know, and went all over the place. We got it cleaned up. Luckily, it's in the working cell, so we had plenty of free labor there to help fix that up. So that's going to have to be replaced, the whole ceiling. And what we're going to do, I'm pretty sure we can get this taken care of with the commissary money, which will be no cost to the county. I just need to make sure you all are aware of it because it is the county's building and we're going to have to fix it. And it probably needs to be turned into the insurance company.
Yes.
Because the same thing happened to our kitchen. You know, the kitchen got flooded and we turned that in and got that taken care of. So this is something that probably needs to be turned into the insurance company and then we'll move forward on getting that fixed. So I just want y'all aware of that it's your all's building. It needs to be fixed. It's an insurance deal and I don't even know how to go about that.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
If the insurance fix it, you won't have to use your commissary money, would you?
Well, that's, you know, that's one
That's what
thing.
we're
that,
hoping for.
Yeah, it could be, you could use it for the deductible. You know, you can use that kind of stuff, so, yeah. So, but that should, then you know, that we can move forward with that and I'll get with John on that part, so. The other issue is that if you notice, I don't know if you've been over there or not, but there's a parking lot that we've kind of got started over there and we're in dire need of that parking lot. We don't have enough parking on visitation days. It's overcrowded, the staff. On any given day, we may have 15 people there with our programs, with the staff, medical, kitchen personnel. We're all there on the same day during the visit. And if you'll notice, we just don't have any place to park. And we have dug it out and got it started. We just need that. I know you can't do anything with it now other than maybe get it graded out and keep rock on it and help us get it graded back big enough to where it'll suit us down the road. Because we definitely need the parking.
Do you have an estimate on that to get that accomplished?
Did you get a chance to come over?
I believe, we should be able to do most of it through the road department, can't we?
Yeah, well, Dan came over and then we talked about how, you know, where the line is and how it needed, so we'd slope it where we didn't have to have any grade, where it'd be able to be mowed or weed eated by the inmates. We don't want, you know, we didn't want any steepness or anything and don't have to build any retaining walls, so. It's just something that when the graders or the loaders aren't doing anything, you know, come over and help us and give us a load of rock. We've got a skid loader over there. We can do the spreading. We've dug out everything that's there now and got it where it's at. We just need bigger equipment now and somebody with the knowledge of how to slope that bank and do what it needs to be done with it.
We'll try to work on that
Okay.
as we can here, get ready, I
Yeah,
guess.
like I said, it's nothing you can do now, but it's something that's gonna have to be, we'd love to have it in Four Springs when you're, you know, I don't know what you wanna cover it with. I suggest just putting rock on it for a year and let it be there and let us drive on it, pack it in good for a year and get some rain on it, and then next year try to figure something out with that. But it just needs to be bigger right now, so.
You want to just check with Jordan when he's got a free man, he can send him over there to help you out, or
Yeah, just fine, whatever.
is that okay, Jordan?
Like I said, it's your all's property. We just need to get it taken care of and move on.
Okay, I appreciate you letting us know that. We'll try to work on that. Brings us into our corner. Mr. Strunk?
Well, the coroner's office is still in existence.
All right.
Had the biggest year we've ever had, 450 death investigations, with 3 part-time deputies, a part-time office manager, and myself. Some needs that we're gonna be looking at, we've got an O2 vehicle, one of the deputies is driving that the paint has blown off of it, it's starting to rust. The top is starting to rust through. We probably in the near future, he's gonna have to paint it or replace it. We've got records from 1964 that we're gonna have to get off of hard file onto a hard drive. So it looks like that since my office manager's only working 4 hours a day, probably need to bring him in and make it full-time instead of part-time. Our office is being inundated with calls after the office closes at noon. And I think our office needs to be open. People can get their records and get things done all day long. So that's some things that we're looking at possibly, so just in helping you all know that some things that probably need to be done for the coroner's office. So we're still there, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Clyde. Public safety, Stacy, you have anything? Okay. That's in our road department. Jordan, you have anything today?
The only thing I have today, Judge, is approval of your road work.
I've got a copy of your road work request. Have any questions or you have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is that all you got? Yeah, we've got a make a personnel change, if you would, at the road department. We've got one of our operators has resigned, or I guess, and gone back to work driving a truck somewhere. So we need to move. We'd like to move Scott West from driving a truck into the operator position, and then I'm going to make a motion to replace him. But first, we need to approve Scott West to be
Motion. Second.
moved into an operator. So we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and then subsequent to that, I want to recommend that we hire James Yaden. He has his CDL license, and we want to recommend that
Motion.
he be a driver.
I know James is a good guy.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries then. All right. Brings us to our 911. Aaron, do you have something for us today?
Judge, I just want to run over our numbers from 2018. We had a total of 152,942 phone calls that came into our 911 center. Out of those phone calls, 82,222 were 911 calls, then 70,720 admin calls. We've dispatched 63,906 calls to the agencies in the county. Out of those, EMS took around 12,122, fire 4,494, and law enforcement 42,502. Very busy. This is probably a little lower than what we're used to. We're used to hanging around about 80,000 calls, non-emergency and emergency. So I don't know what's due to the lower call count, but still a good year though.
While you're here, I just want to encourage everybody, during this time, especially with the weather, it can change and be treacherous. If there are any concerns or emergencies, please call 911. It's we have at 911, we've got the ability to cover any situation. They can dispatch the proper people. So I encourage the public, whenever you have a situation that comes up, to call 911 for emergencies, and also just for things that you are concerned about for the safety of people here in Pulaski County.
It's slick roads, the winter season, any slick road you see, give us a call. We can, of course, get with the road department and whatnot and get the salt trucks out there to get those roads covered for everybody.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks,
Thank
Aaron.
you.
Brings us into solid waste. Danny, do you have anything today? Scales with our animal shelter? Bring us to Joan with our treasurer's report.
I do have a few things. The first thing on my list is the occupational tax office needs, their copier lease is about out. They're needing a new copier. So we have gotten a quote from the company that currently has their contract for a new copier, and it is actually, believe it or not, cheaper than the one they've got now. So I do need permission to start or to enter into this new contract for a new copier at the occupational tax office.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second to copy or lease. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
The second thing I would have would be your monthly bill list.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second to approve the monthly bill list. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Also, the monthly bank reconciliation.
Got a
We're
copy-
halfway through a year.
Got a copy of your bank reconciliation. Any questions or have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
I also have two fund transfers, one for the jail and one for the general fund. Just in note, the jail is not due to any overspending or such on that. What has happened is their monthly payment from the state for state inmates has not been received. We're trying now to figure out what that is, and of course that puts them short if they don't get their monthly income from the state.
We have a motion for these fund transfers.
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
The one last thing I have is basically just a comment, and, you know, it's a good place to do it because I've got the whole court and all the department heads. I'm having a lot of problems with receiving invoices for work and items that have been purchased or work that has been completed that I have no, I don't want to say have no knowledge of, but has not been prior approved or has been approved that is not of my knowledge, and therefore it's hard for me to approve a bill. So if everyone would please make sure that you go through the proper channels before anything is purchased and goes down the pipe, because right now it's a very, very, I'll add a very on there, lean time for us. We're winter months, of course, you never know what's going to happen with the road department due to snow and things breaking down. So we can't really spend money that we don't know about. So if everyone would just watch over that for me, I would appreciate it very much. That's all I have. Thank you, gentlemen.
Next item on the agenda then is our citizens' comments. We do have John Adams with us today, city councilman and local attorney, that would like to talk about fireworks and issues that we're having with that.
Are you
Good.
timing yourself, John?
I am.
Okay, I
And
kinda
I
figured.
tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. If I stay within the 3 minutes, can I have additional time? Ms. Cook has asked me to say something about some of the MLK, the King Day,
I don't.
We will
things.
grant you this courtesy just this once, John.
And actually, I can be much more cogent and quicker if I work from my notes. So if I don't maintain a lot of eye contact, it's to your benefit.
I'm asking the fiscal court to consider passing an ordinance whereby the seller of any fireworks which makes noise is required to have a permit or license issued by the county. That's in the program would cover the county, and I'll explain why. That's valid only from June 30th to July 7th. The reason I'm asking county government to do it and not doing it directly in the city government is because if we enact such a permitting restriction in the city of Somerset, then it isn't going to be effective. The sellers of fireworks will just set up outside the city. And the reason I ask you, the reason that I've come to you and asked you to do this is last July I had a number of people very passionate about, they weren't against fireworks, and I'm not against fireworks, but the problem is that it seems like now from June 15th to the end of July, subdivisions and populated areas sometimes every night from 9 o'clock till midnight or 1 o'clock sounds like a war zone. It's just the unreasonable. There's just this supply of cheap fireworks that are going off in the subdivision populated areas, and people just are getting tired of it. I don't think, I've researched it a little bit. I don't think that communities that have set up, noise ordinance or ordinances where you show up, where you call, where you cite somebody to district court, I don't think that works. Nobody wants to get crosswise with their neighbor or anything. What seems to work is restricting the time that they're sold. Fireworks typically is a short market in that you have tent or temporary sellers set up. And what happens is, and this is especially true, Michigan addressed this problem statewide, and then what the municipalities and the counties were able to do, townships and counties were able to do is they could add more restriction or less restriction. And if you were next door to somebody that had a lot of restrictions, what happened is after they restricted their permit time in mid-July or July 10th, you were getting their unsold inventory being sold in your area for 50% off, and it just made your problem worse if you didn't have equal things. Again, that's why I'm coming to the county, is because I think it's a solution that's going to have to be done countywide. Leslie tells me that the county government has received a lot of calls about fireworks. I don't know if the individual magistrates have either. I come to you now in January, 6 months ahead, because if we're going to do anything about it, we'll do it now. I think I can't speak for the city council. We kind of talked. I told them I was coming here. We talked to them there. I'm not trying to dump this on you or anything like that. I think that if you say, well, we'll pass one, if you all pass one, I think we probably can work something out. But I'll follow up with you. It's just right now I'd ask that you look into it. Let's see if I've got anything else.
What was the dates again, John?
I've seen this date, especially in the Michigan. You start like June 30th to about July 7th. You want to go 10 to 14 days. And if you don't, as I said, as July goes deeper and deeper, you're getting everybody else's unsold inventory, and it's getting cheaper and cheaper.
Are you asking for a permit for the sellers?
Yeah, the sellers would have to get a permit. Yeah, a seller's
Just
permit.
during that
Don't you all
time.
have a does that not have to get a business license in the city?
They probably are
During
supposed to.
that
I don't know
time
that we
frame?
enforce. As a practical matter, I don't know that we enforce
Yeah.
it. This would be that if you're selling fireworks, even if at a convenience store or something, that you're limited to this 10-day, 2-week
Yeah.
period.
You mean they couldn't sell it after that?
No, not if it makes noise.
How about they go the week before that 30th and get all the
That's fine.
water?
And I'm not trying to totally,
Stop the noise.
do away with fireworks. What I'm trying to do is cut down on the supply, because the problem's worse after the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Everything's discounted, and it just, the tents seem to stay up, the temporary sellers seem to stay up later and later. And I think what people are saying is, okay, I understand the last week of June, the first week of July, I expect that. But come July 15th, July 20th, at some point, it gets unreasonable.
Your theory is that because they're so readily available, that people continue using them
Exactly.
after that holiday.
Use
period.
them unreasonably. I'm not against the use of fireworks. There's a lot of people in subdivisions that would like to go to bed in the second week of July at 9 o'clock
But
You
if
know?
somebody's coming through Tennessee, they can still stop
They
and
still,
buy
sure,
them and
sure,
still.
I can't, okay, so,
Yeah.
it's occasionally gonna happen. It's just I think what's upset the public is that the unreasonableness that it just keeps on going and just keeps
And
on
I
going.
think that's what people want regulated, is they want it regulated that you can't shoot them, and that's
Yeah,
pretty
and that
problematic.
doesn't work because law enforcement can't be everywhere. And the last thing you want to do is you hear fireworks, you think you know who it is, you call law enforcement, they show up, it's the Smiths down there. Well, it may or may not be the Smiths, or let's say it is, then you've got to go, and I'm just using Smiths as an example, then you got to go to district court. Nobody wants to do that,
Now, let me ask you something,
Sure.
because is this for just the temporary sellers? Because if knowledge
Uh-huh.
serves me, I think that there is one
Permanent seller.
permanent seller in Pulaski County.
Yeah. You could start out trying just temporary, because again, what I'm trying to address is the unreasonable
Correct.
through supply. So you could try maybe the first year just
Temporary.
temporary sellers and see if you still had a problem. That'd be something that, that's what I'm talking about 6 months ahead of time is, let's try it this way this year.
Yeah.
What I don't think works is to say you can only, shoot from dark till 10:30 and the penalty is a $25 fine, $100 fine. I don't think anybody's I don't think that's gonna work. I'm just trying to cut down the oversupply.
Oh, I'm with you.
So, you could start out the first year and just say if you're temporarily going to, you can only set up temporarily and see if that cuts down on the unreasonable use. Okay. And then if anybody's got, I'll follow up with the court. We've got plenty of time. I'll follow up with the members of the court individually. If you, could I discuss the King Day, the community's King Day celebrations?
Yes.
Okay.
Feel free to, yeah, it's coming up Friday, right?
Well, there are several. Let's see here. Let me find some.
12.
Well, I think Thursday, anybody that's interested in being and Betty, tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm shooting from the hip here. I think Thursday, the community choir is going to meet, and I think that anybody that's interested in singing at the Sunday event probably needs to show up Thursday. And is the contact person Elaine Wilson, but specifically for, Elaine's the contact person overall, specifically for the choir would probably, is it Steve? Steve Hall? Steve Hall. Then that's Thursday evening. Friday morning at 8:30 at the community college, there's a breakfast. Dr. Anton Reese, who is the president of the West Kentucky Community and Technical College in Paducah, is our speaker. I would say if folks are interested in going to that, they probably need to RSVP since a meal is served with the community college. I'm sure if you call the community college, they'd be happy to have you just RSVP. Sunday at 2 o'clock at First Baptist, our speaker is going to be Miss Renee Shaw from KET. I believe she's listed as producer, writer, host. I believe she has the Kentucky Tonight Show. Then on Monday, January 15th, King Day proper, Dolores Dalton of the Slaves Memorial is going to be speaking at 8:30 a.m. at a breakfast at the Aspire Center in Monticello, Kentucky. And then we'll have a walk at 11:30 that'll start at First Christian Church across the King Bridge. We'll end up at High Street Baptist. A light lunch will be served, and I believe we'll have some type of program then. Okay. Is that covered? Okay. Thank you all very much.
Let me just ask, did you say on that route, you said First Christian, I think that's not right.
First Church of God, I'm sorry, did I say First Christian? First Church of God.
I was gonna say, that's a long way.
Is it ended?
Christian.
And across
a
the
long way
First
there,
Church,
John.
excuse me, First Church of God across the bridge to High Street Baptist.
All right,
I believe it's about a half mile.
all right.
Thank you all.
Thank you, John. Anything else from?
Back to the corner there where he talked, can we do full-time, temporary full-time right now till he figure out what we're gonna do there? That way he can work 40 hours a week, but no benefits right now until we can figure out what we're gonna do.
Temporary
So he can
full-time
get
for
caught
up
back
to
up.
12
Yeah.
months.
Does that be all right with you, Corner?
That'd help you, wouldn't it, to have him there?
That way he can work 40 hours a week as temporary full-time.
I've got no problem with it if we've got the financial wherewithal to take that on right now.
Can we do that, Joan, or do you?
Can I look, I really need to look
No, we
at the
can wait.
budget
I mean-
because, and see what that's gonna do to it.
Yeah.
Like I said,
That way he can get caught back up on some stuff and.
Can we do can we have 2 weeks to figure this out? Okay. All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
I've got we have a cookout for cops every year that my office sponsors, and it's not paid for with any public funds. We try to do it in the September, October time range. And we invite all the local law enforcement to come, and we cook chicken and have a nice meal, and we give away door prizes. And Pulaski Fiscal Court, you guys are always kind enough to donate a weekend cabin rental or something for the drawing. So I've got a certificate of appreciation here that the judge can hang in his office, and we appreciate
Thank
you all
you.
donating to that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anything else?
Do we need a motion to donate to you or anything?
No, he lets you know when it's time. He always does me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got one for Honey Baked
I saw
Ham too,
that.
so I'll give that one to you as well.
Thank you. I saw that. Appreciate that.
Speaking from the law enforcement community, we appreciate Martin putting that on. We appreciate you all helping sponsor that and all the sponsors for the prizes that they give away out there. It's really nice, really good chicken too. Good job, Martin.
Johnny Tuttle. Me and Johnny Tuttle cook the chicken.
Thank you, Martin. Well, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any further? All in favor?